Hello friends, in this video lecture we will see assembler directives for Intel 8086 or 8088 assembly language programming. After the detailed study of the instruction set and the corresponding addressing modes, now it is the time to study various assembler directives. After study of that assembler directives, one can write an assembly language program using assembler directives and the various instructions which are already studied in the previous lectures. Now here, what that assembler directive define? That assembler directive gives the direction to the assembler. Now generally, such type of assembler directives are also called as the pseudo instructions. It means that they will look like an instruction but not the executable instructions here. These are the instructions or these are the directions which are given to the assembler, and these are non-executable. These are non-executable instructions here. So here the third point which is clearly stated that assembler directive do not generate machine executable code. It is just because machine executable code is generated only for the assembly language instructions, only for the mnemonics, and not for the assembler directives here. Now here are the various types of assembler directives which are available in case of Intel's 8086 or 8088 assembly language programming. Now these assembler directives are categorized into 5 types here: data definition and storage allocation directives, then program organization, then procedure definition, macro definition, and data control directives here. One by one we will see the details of each of that assembler directive here. So let us start. Let us start with the data definition and storage allocation directives. Now here inside bracket, those data definition and storage allocation directives are enlisted. DB, that is a define byte. DW, that is a define word. DD, define double word. DQ, define chord word. DT, define 10 bytes. So these are the various data definition and storage allocation directives, the listing. Now let us see the details of that first assembler directive, that is a define byte. A define byte type variable. Now here on the subsequent line, that syntax of this particular define byte assembler directive that is given here. First of all, a particular variable name, whatever you want to assign, that will be written here. Then DB, that stands for define byte, and the value which is to be assigned to that variable name, which will be written on the right side. So syntax is very simple as such. Now here are some examples. First example is a number DB20. It means that variable named as number, it is reserving 1 byte, okay, and the value of that particular number is equal to 20 here. Okay, then the second result define byte, a question mark. Variable name is result. A byte is to be reserved for that result, for that variable name result, and a question mark means at this point of time we don't know what is its value. Maybe the value will be calculated and later on it will be placed here in the place of that question mark. Then the third example is array defined byte 12, comma 35, comma 08, comma 56, comma 23. Okay, here that variable name is array, reserving a byte for each of that data element here. So define byte, first byte is 12, subsequent byte 35, third byte 08, fourth byte 56, and the last byte is 23. It means sometimes I may define multiple bytes here within a single declaration, which is shown here. And then the last example here, array 1. The name of that variable is array 1, defined byte. Total 100 locations are defined here, and duplicate, DUP stands for duplicate, and the value is 0 inside braces, inside bracket. It means that in the last example here, variable name array 1, it reserves total 100 memory location, 100 bytes, and duplicate 0 means those are initialized to all 100 locations to 0 here. So this way define byte will reserve for that corresponding variable either a single byte location which is perfectly known at the time of declaration, just like first example here, or even without knowing the value, certain variable can be defined here and a byte will be reserved here, or even multiple bytes in the form of array can be declared whose values are clearly known, or multiple bytes can be reserved, like say last example which is given here, array 1 defined byte 100 duplicate 0. So initial values of all 100 locations would be 0 here. So that way storage can be allocated by such type of directives and data may be defined within it. Similarly, the other type of data definition and storage allocation directives are enlisted here. Similar examples can be taken. The only thing is that in place of byte, the other sizes of data will be defined here. Like say define word. Word means 16-bit. So variable name define word DW is 16 bits of value you can either specify here, or 16-bit values, multiple values can be also defined. Then next is define double word. Double word means 32-bit. Then next is a DQ, that is define quad word, means 64-bit. For the variable we assign 64-bit value. Then last is a DT, that define 10-byte variable here. Variable name is assigned with say 10 bytes. It means that total 10 memory locations are reserved here for that corresponding variable. Okay, normally that define 10 bytes. This particular assembler directive will be used along with the programming of 8086 CPU along with NDP 8087. Because internal to that NDP 8087, that floating point data is normally processed by using 80-bit temporary real format. Okay, and for that 80 bits of temporary real format, the variable which requires say 10 bytes to be reserved there. Okay, so this is all about that data definition and storage allocation directives here. Now next is equate, EQU, equate to. Basically this equate is used to assign a constant value to a particular symbol. Now basically this particular assembler directive, the macro assembler, which we normally call it as a MASM, macro assembler, replaces every occurrence of that corresponding symbol by its value. Then this syntax. First of all, we have to define that symbol name, then a keyword EQU, and then the value to be written on the right side. Examples are given just below. That number is the symbol name, equate 100. So thereafter, once that assembler directive equate has been defined here and it assigns value 100 to that corresponding symbol, thereafter in the assembly language program, wherever that number variable comes, that symbol comes, it will be automatically replaced by 100. Similarly, second example here, pi equate 3.14. So wherever in the assembly language program thereafter, once that pi has been declared here, equated here, so wherever that pi symbol is used, it will be automatically replaced by 3.14 and rest of the calculations will be carried out. So normally equate is used to assign the fixed and standard values to certain symbols. Then the next is ORG, that is originate. Okay, it assigns the location counter with the value defined in the directive. Okay, basically location counter is nothing but the instruction pointer itself. But the value of that instruction counter at the time of execution, this dynamic value, that is called as the location counter here. And then by this ORG, assembler directive, here it places, assembler places the machine code in the specified location after that completion of that assembly process. Okay, normally what I mean by assembly process, that mnemonic level assembly language instructions will be converted to its corresponding machine code which understands to your CPU and gets directly executed. So whenever the assembly process is over, it means that conversion of assembly language program to its corresponding machine code. This machine code must be placed somewhere in the memory locations. Of course, it is a random access memory location. Okay, and this ORG, originate, this assembler directive will help to place that particular assembled machine code into proper memory locations here. And then the execution can be thereafter continued. So here is that syntax ORG dollar plus numerical value. Okay, some examples are given just below. ORG 1000 hexadecimal. By this first example, that assembled machine code, generated machine code will be placed for execution from 1000 hexadecimal address onwards. Second example, ORG dollar. It means that assembled machine code, that generated machine code after assembly process will be placed at this particular memory location here. The location which is given by instruction pointer, the location which is given by the location counter. And then the third example here, ORG dollar plus 200. The appropriate format of that originate assembler directive here. Now what this third example indicates, with reference to the current contents of instruction pointer, means location counter, at a head location by a value of 200, the assembled machine code will be placed. It means if my current location counter value is say 1000, so dollar will be 1000. For example, current location counter value is say 1000, so dollar is 1000. So ORG dollar plus 200, it means that after the assembly process, that machine code will be placed at memory location 1200 hexadecimal onwards. It means that that machine code which has been generated after assembly process, it can be stored or it can be placed at a fixed memory location here. Absolute location, which is the first case, 1000. In the second case here, whatever machine code which has been generated, that will be placed at this particular memory location which is given by location counter. Second example, ORG dollar does this particular operation. And then the third example here, ORG dollar plus 200, it will be a relative memory location where that assembled machine code will be placed here with reference to the current contents of location counter at the offset location, at the next location, which is at a distance of 200. At a distance of 200, that assembled machine code will be placed. So it is the relative location with reference to the current contents of location counter. Now the next subgroup here is a program organization directives. Inside a bracket, those are collected together. Assume is one such segment, then ENDS, end of segment, and end of the application, END. So these are the four program organization assembler directives. So here first of all, assume. What this particular assume assembler directive does here, it conveys the logical name of the segment to the assembler. Okay, always that segment register points to the logical segment, of course. Example which is given here, assume CS colon quote, comma, DS colon data. Okay, in this particular example here, code segment register CS colon quote, it means that logical name of code, logical name that is code is assigned to that corresponding code segment here. Similarly, logical name of data that is assigned to that data segment here. Of course, it is not necessary that one should always write such type of identical logical names here. Okay, I may write say assume CS colon program. It means that logical name for that code segment is program, comma, DS colon star. Star is the logical name for that corresponding data segment. Okay, it means that any logical name can be assigned and that can be conveyed to that corresponding assembler through this assume directive here. Next is segment. It indicates the beginning of that corresponding logical segment here. Segment indicates the beginning of that corresponding logical segment. And here that segment follows the name of that corresponding segment. One example which is given here. Okay, the logical name of that segment data, and then segment means that corresponding segment is beginning here. And at the bottom data, the logical name of that segment data ends means end of segment is here. So whatever defined between that segment and end of segment is nothing but that data declaration. For any particular application, whatever data which you want to declare, that will be in between that segment and end of segment here. Of course, this is under the assumption that this is the data segment. Next, end of segment, ENDS, end of segment will be indicated here. And then end of the program or end of the application will be given at the extreme bottom of your application by using the assembler directive end here. Now the next is procedure definition directives. There are only two, PROC, PROC, and end of procedure ENDP. Now let us see here. What is PROC? It indicates the beginning of that corresponding procedure here. Procedure is basically a subroutine, or it can be even a function, or it can be simply called as a procedure here. Now here in the procedure definition directives, name of the procedure followed by PROC, a keyword, and then the type of that corresponding procedure is to be subsequently followed. The type of that procedure can be a near procedure within that same code segment where my main program is present, or there can be a far procedure. It means that main program is in one code segment and procedure is located in some another code segment, totally distinct. So such type of procedures are called as a far procedure here. And here is that syntax. Okay, procedure name is first of all to be defined. Then PROC is a keyword indicating that this is the procedure. And then subsequently it should define whether it is a near procedure or a far procedure. Whenever procedure is near, sometimes you may not define. Some of the assemblers allows. But whenever that procedure is a far procedure which is located in another code segment, then it must be defined after that keyword PROC, far. Then the example which has been given here, factorial is the name of the procedure which has been taken in this example. PROC is a keyword indicating that this is the procedure which we are going to define, and it is a near procedure. It means that this factorial procedure is within that same code segment where my main program is present. Then the procedure code will be subsequently followed. And then towards the end here, factorial, that is the name of the procedure, and ENDP indicates that end of procedure here. So PROC will define the beginning of that corresponding procedure and ENDP will define the end of that corresponding procedure. Okay, the name of the procedure will appear just to the left side of that PROC and ENDP. You can observe it. Okay, this last line I need not explain. ENDP, it stands for end of the procedure. Now the next is macro definition directives. Again, there are two types of directives here. MACRO, that stands for macro, and ENDM, that stands for end of macro. Now first of all, about that macro here. Whenever that macro definition directive macro is used, it indicates the beginning of that corresponding macro. It consists of the name of that macro followed by a keyword macro and the arguments if any. Now question here, where that macros are used. Macros are used to replace and expand the macro definitions which are used in your application, provided my macro is already defined earlier. Okay, macro is basically an abbreviation which is used for a repetitive code. So we need to define that repetitive code and we have to assign some macro name to that. And wherever that repetitive code is needed in my application, that entire repetitive code will be just written by that corresponding macro name. So at the time of assembly process, whenever that particular macro appears, subsequently that will be expanded there itself. It means that in order to optimize that particular code, assembly language code, such macros are used. Okay, once that macro defined properly at the beginning and thereafter wherever that macro comes during the process of assembly, that macro will be simply expanded. Okay, here in case of 8086 assembly language programming, that macro consists of name of that macro followed by keyword macro, macro, and the arguments if any. Okay, here is that syntax. Macro name, any macro name you can assign. The only thing is that macro name should not be the executable instruction in case of that corresponding assembly language program. Then a keyword macro and then the arguments which are shown at the end here. Now here is the example. Square is the name of that corresponding macro. macro, it means that this is the beginning of that macro definition, and then inside bracket that number, that means whose square is to be formed, that is basically an argument, input parameter. Then in order to calculate that square of that given number, here a small program has been written inside. Move al comma number and multiply al. It means that it will simply form the square of the contents of that register al itself. And then subsequently I will define that end of macro here. End of macro. ENDM. Okay. So these are the macro definition directives here. This is end of the macro which is written at the end. Then the next is the data control directives. Okay, this is the last type of assembler directives here. Public, comma, pointer. These are the data control directives which I am going to explain here. Now first of all, public. It indicates to the assembler that the variable or the segment can be accessed from any module. Okay, any variable which is declared as a public, it means that there is no restriction to use that particular variable by various procedures, by various programs, or even that same thing is applicable for the segment declaration as well. Whenever one particular segment is defined as a public segment, it means that it can be used by any user in their corresponding applications. Okay, so here that public, it declares the global variables or global procedures here which are accessible, those variables and the procedures are accessible from any program. Then the syntax of that data control public directive is shown here. Public, then the list of variables, variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4 separated by comma to be written thereafter. It means that each of that variable will be a public type of variable which can be used by any application thereafter. And then the last directive here is PTR. It stands for pointer. PTR stands for pointer. It indicates the type of memory access here. The type of memory access can be a byte, it can be a word, or it can be a double word normally. So one example which has been taken here, this example is JMP, jump, double word, pointer. Inside square bracket bx means a double word is to be taken from this memory location onwards. Bx, bx plus 1, bx plus 2 and bx plus 3. Because double word happens to be of 32 bit. And using that 32 bits of word, 32 bits of double word taken from 4 consecutive memory location here, the first word will be copied to IP register and second word will be copied to CS register, and then subsequently processor takes a far jump to another code segment. So basically this particular example is a far unconditional jump instruction example here, where the address will be taken from 4 offset locations bx, bx plus 1, bx plus 2 and bx plus 3. So this is all about The assembler directives which are available in a general macro assembler available with 8086 or 8088 microprocessor. For the purpose of assembly language programming, these assembler directives must be known to the programmer along with their corresponding instructions. I hope that you understood all these concepts.